I'm standing on the ancient site of Megiddo. Below me is the original gate that was uncovered, which was built by the Canaanites, and then 1,000 years later is another gate in front of us that was built by King Solomon.
When you read in Scripture about the gate, so many things happen at the gate. And I often picture it as being a really crowded place because there's so much going on at the gate of the city.
If you read Scripture, it'll talk about people meeting at the city gates. And that never did mean anything to me before. But now I can envision people gathering and talking with King David at the city gates or just interacting, and that's something I never had before.
This ancient site was fortified by Solomon really for one main reason, because it was on an international trade route. He who controls international trade is in control of military movements as well. So this was the most fought over area on this international trade route throughout history.
Tel Megiddo, that was a special place. It has a complex history that goes back 5,000 years. It just kind of blows you away. You think of all the different nations and peoples that lived there and struggled there. The Egyptians, Israelites, Greeks, the Romans.
Megiddo is one of the places where they built up to 20 different cities on top of one another. It's now about 200 feet above the surrounding valley's floor, so it gave you an excellent, view of it if there's anybody coming to attack or if anybody was coming to trade.
This is all ancient history, but it speaks of the place where God put His people. This was the testing ground of faith. This is also the site of what Scripture describes as the great and final battle, the battle of, we refer to it as Armageddon. And they assembled them at the place that in Hebrew is called Armageddon. The word Armageddon is a Greek version of Har Megiddo. Har is the Hebrew word for mountain, and Megiddo identifies the region. This is identified in the book of Revelation as a final gathering of great armies that will fight against God and against His people. So that's prophetically announced. Even though interpreters may differ on what it is, it's placed right in a significant location that had a long history. So it should not be a surprise that the armies of the world may someday gather in this region and other areas around us to see what will become a great and final battle.